So what are some of the things that we need to protect against? Cybercrime. So I mentioned the ransomware issue with Garmin earlier. That's a type of cybercrime. Attackers might also try to steal proprietary data, designs, or information, kind of like I was just referring to when you're thinking about what are your critical assets. They might try to steal money either directly or indirectly from your organization or from your employees by getting to them via your organization. They may be trying to attack you as the competitor. They may be trying to damage your company's reputation. Any of those, all of those, and as others that are not on this list as well. There can be and are state-sponsored cyber attacks, and these aim to cause damage or disruption to specific organizations or industries. And this, typically a coffee shop will not be a target of a state-sponsored attack, but if your business is part of the supply chain for aviation, for example, even if you're not the end product, if you're supplying things in the aviation supply chain, you might be potentially a target for state-sponsored attacks. A lot of attackers just do it for fun or just to prove they can. There's certainly a lot of that out there. There any others that anybody else can think of, or any others, maybe Jeremy, that I don't have on here?
Now, sometimes when we're talking about attacks, what we've seen is more prevalent and really kind of ramping up in terms of attacks is that you'll have these large swaths of seeding is what they're calling it, right? Kind of like phishing across multiple orgs, not necessarily where there's a directed attack at the company, but a wide, more bot-based approach to networks. So they'll fire out these emails. Maybe they come with some type of back-level JavaScript or a file that's attached to the email that then basically silently runs in a browser. This is not to be alarmist or anything, but it's just how it works, right? You open the email, this file is executed. As far as your understanding of what's taking place with the computer you're working on, nothing happens, but it reports back. It installs some type of script on the computer and reports back to what we call C2 or command and control. And Brian will get into some of that in a minute. But when it reports back to that C2 server, then the attacker notices the machine and begins to try to move laterally. But directed attacks are often purpose-driven, right? Nation states, certainly larger enterprises, cybercrime and ransomware is all the rage. But frankly, most hackers and the way they attack organizations haven't really changed. They're trying to install a Bitcoin miner on your infrastructure if you have that technology to power it. It's really all they're doing.
Yep, that's a great example also, Jeremy. And that might not strike you as a business owner as, maybe I don't care if somebody mines Bitcoin on my resources. It can cost you significantly, both in terms of additional electricity and also potentially destroying your systems unintentionally. So it can have some kind of indirect effects. So kind of directly related to that, why should we care in the first place? Cybersecurity is an issue for everyone and for every type of organization, and it's just part and parcel of living in the modern connected economy that we are in right now, and especially since March, with so much more business being done online. Because it relies on information and communication technology that is at the base of almost everything that we do at some level, if you take it deep enough. It's also, I won't go too much into this, but it's also a result of the fundamental design of the internet itself, which a lot of people have proposed modifying. When the internet was first being developed, its original designers, they all knew each other, and it was a network of maybe 10 organizations that were sharing information, and so they all knew each other. They didn't even conceive of why they might need in the future security. But as the networks grew over the years, those problems persisted a lot of times, and because of it, a lot of the issues are us kind of trying to mitigate some of the issues that are inherent in the design of these networks. Large corporations and national governments, they have a lot more resources at their disposal to help guard against cyber threats than you as a small business owner do. You're also an easier target for cyber criminals for the same reason. You may not have as much stuff to steal, so to speak, as a corporation, but you also, for that exact same reason from the previous point, you may be an easier target. So I'm sure you've all heard the old saying of, if you're out camping and a bear comes, you don't have to be faster than the bear, you just have to be faster than the other person who's running away from the bear. Kind of the same thing is true to an extent in cybersecurity. Many attackers are opportunists, and they're just looking for an organization that's easy to get into. And so if you take even just some basic precautions, it can really cut down significantly on incidences of those types of the opportunists. If somebody is specifically targeting your business, that can be a different story. They can be more intentional about what they do.